Good morning, everyone. So first things first, if you're sleepy, raise your hand. Okay, if you're nervous, raise your hand. Okay, cool. So it's, yeah, okay, two of us at least. First of all, I want to thank Artem and the organization for inviting me to actually do a bit of a different take on this conference. I want to take you on a journey to what is the state of tech in the north of Portugal. And to give you that sense, I want to set the scene for all the talks that come after this. And to do that, I decided to do a couple of slides. There's like 50, and I have 19 minutes. So, chapter 1, me. So, I am Nelson Sachs, similar to, saxophone, but without the phone. I am the founder of technologist and also a strategist of Ocean Infinity. So, to give you a sense, technologist starts out of frustration. It was a mix of seeing different types of venues not being utilized for us to know the city. It was a mix of wanted to take developers and the developer mindset to a non-commercial event that will be just about, get into a sense of who's here and who's doing what. And then from there, allowing you to explore not only the city, but different spaces. So we went to public libraries, we go to Casas de Arquitetura, we went to a fish market, by the way, whoever been there, and it was 9 in the morning on a Sunday, because we have the stalls of the fishermen there, it stinked. So thank you for actually supporting us. But the take was, we have such a beautiful city. If you just look outside, it's gorgeous. And we sometimes do not see and take the full benefits of that. We should be learning and actually exploring. So this was my take to actually get you in the journey that you explore and you live a little bit more beyond the barriers of a confined room. So, and plus, we went to record store because, we're cool. Anyway, I work at Ocean Infinity. I'm a strategist. A strategist does something like help define the roadmap with a tech stack, or different types of tech stacks. And with the leadership team, we built maritime technologies to control different type of operations in the open sea. So, I'm not doing a lot of sales pitch here, but at least to give you a sense of this is not really sci-fi, but it's a lot of different types of operations, a lot of connectivity, working with satellites and sending back and forth informations to vessels as big as this. By the way, to give you a sense of perspective, this is a human, this is the vessel, and software and control. Yeah, I know. But chapter 2. The disclaimer. Okay, so when I decided to do this talk, my set was like, hey, if we have Ukrainians actually organizing an event here, and yeah, thank you. This is Portugal, right? Okay, this is us. This is Portugal. And then I started thinking about as a whole, it's really hard to talk about everything, and especially in 20 minutes. So I decided to split it out. So this is the north, this is the middle, and this is the south. By the way, do not kill me by putting, wait a second. Let me just put here. By now putting this division correctly, and I know some purists will say it's not there, but it doesn't matter. It's hard to do this division, and it looks pretty this way. But the key point is that this is the north, and the north is this area. So there's different types of municipalities here. It's 11, and that's my take, because I can talk about the things that I know. The things that I don't, I'll just go for my second disclaimer. The data. I got my data from a magical, wonderful place called the internet. If you've been there, there's a lot of information, so do not crucify me if things don't go as you imagine, or I'm not talking about companies or something that you expect me to do, because I got my data from these data sources: ScaleUp, Porto, Crunchbase, Dealroom, technologist, Google, and OpenAI. So I have a mix of places you can go, like Crunchbase and Dealroom, to give you aggregation of information of startups, raises, evaluations, numbers, and then give you a sense between communities, and then Google, because, Google, and OpenAI, because, who doesn't want still data from 2021? So, next thing, chapter 3. Who's in the north? So we set the scene. We know we're in Portugal. You know we're in the north, but who are the companies that are here? So that was my first question. That's when I went to Crunchbase and actually input two things. So my two parameters that I wanted to discuss was like, okay, it needs to be in technology and it needs to be in Porto. And that was when I got all these results. Remember, some of them might be acquired, some of them might not exist. The key point is that you get a foundation of, there's 187 technology companies in Porto. That's good, but it's out of context. So what I decided to do go to Lisbon. And we know there's 375 in Lisbon. So it's almost like, Lisbon has a double, makes sense. What about Portugal? Well, Portugal has a total of 1,500. So what you get is a sense that there is different parts in Portugal, but if you clunch together Porto and Lisbon, you pretty much get like a third of all the tech companies in Portugal. So, these are one of the big hubs. Plus, I just wanted to double check in London, and yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay. Chapter 4. What do these companies do? That was the other thing. It's like, okay, I know I'm in the north. I know there's companies here, but what do they do? So this is when it gets interesting. So I decided to break it down in two parts, in startups and corporations. Mainly because it's easier to get like a sense of plus the definition of startup might be a little bit blurry, but it's easier to see like very old institutions like corporations, and then getting like a sense of the startup world and seeing a little bit of that rise. So I decided also to do it in business model and type of client, mainly because there's so many things I could invest into my time, and I thought, okay, at least I want to have something I can do aggregation of data. So it made sense. So clients, everybody has them, and business types, at least in the broader sense, you can always divide them into different areas. And that's what I did. And I know it's not in the morning, but here's some charts already. So I keep it simple, but this is fascinating for me. So all the data that I've analyzed from Startup Porto, and I will share all the links at the end, you see that business to business has a really big impact into the startup world. So we're really getting to the business to business, and corporations is also there, but the biggest representation is by far on the startups. On the client side, there's still like some disparities, but it's mainly this number that you can actually see that most companies in the north are doing business with each other. So what about the business models? Well, they attack mainly in SaaS, marketplace, and manufacturing. So from a SaaS perspective, imagine anything from different types of fintechs that will do providers. So you know Revolut is here. Teia that now acquires SaltPay is also represented here. You have marketplaces like Farfetch and manufacturing. Anything that's IoT or anything that touches into healthcare, and you're doing specific bespoke software for hospitals will touch here. But the key giveaway is that B2B is way bigger than B2C. We're doing business with other businesses. And SaaS is almost the double representation of any marketplace. So it makes sense, right? So you're not really providing information or a product to your clients, may not be clients to the general public, but you're actually getting a little bit more of a representation of, as a platform, software as a platform, I'm serving other businesses. And that's it. Chapter 5. What about the tech stacks? Because I set the scene, we're in Portugal, we're in the north, we know companies are here, we know they operate in a more business level, but I needed to ask AI because, at this point I was just getting all this information and I needed to crunch this into making something out of sense of why are these companies operating this way. So I asked to show me 20 companies operating in Porto and their tech stacks. And before you say this doesn't exist or some companies have changed, these are the companies that we got in. So we can definitely see some key points of having Euronext here, Bleep, Talkdesk, Farfetch, Rose, Defined Crown, Wheat. So there's a lot of different companies here, but I'm caring more about the front end now. Because if we're here in this conference, it makes sense to get that. And this is when I crunch the data and we get, oh, look, hey, React is cool. Yeah, surprise, surprise. But what about the backend? And that's when I got into a mix of like, oh, look, old school. And, and people are trying to do both things. And yeah, why not? Yeah, AI will be cool. I don't know. Oh, hello. Kotlin starts showing up. And if you've done Kotlin, it's really fun to actually see it being used already for the backend. So that was like some analysis that I was very surprised and very happy to actually see into the backend. So crunching all the data, we get something that, Node.js is by far the most popular choice for front end and back end. React, surprise, it's a standard. Java is still very commonly mentioned as a back end, but Kotlin is up over there, showcasing something here in the north. And AWS, it's a standard. If you do not have AWS, I'm very curious to tell me what you use, because this is fascinating to see that we're not getting away from the mark and being the general use of libraries and different subsets of technologies throughout Europe. Chapter 6. I don't know the time, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. Chapter 6. I'm getting to the final correlation. So what I want you to get from here is 3 factors. First, in the north, the tech scene is booming, and we know we're like a 7 of the companies, tech companies in Portugal. But we still have the ones that exist in Lisbon. I think we can do better, okay? So get new businesses, get new ideas. It's not just about competition, it's about rising together and actually having more impact here, because there's a lot of universities here, there's a lot of healthy communities here, and we can do more of improving our product and getting a little bit more of this elaboration of value for the region, for the north region of Portugal. Second thing, startups and corporations prefer to operate in a B2B model and, go for SaaS. That makes sense, right? So I'm talking to other businesses, I'm creating a platform for them to access my goods or my services. And this is also something that I feel like it makes sense, because Portugal has still a lot of different types of outsourcing companies. So we're still providing services through them. Last thing, most tech companies use TechStack with React, Node.js, Java, and AWS. What I saw here was like, there's nothing interesting, but that's good. Our industry takes time to adapt. We're always seeing, you kick a rock, there's like 2 JavaScript libraries there. It is. There's always, you cannot even think about going to Hacker News and not see JS somewhere. So being boring is not bad. Being boring, being steady, and having data that correlates with the standards of the industry being presented here, it's a valid proposition that you can develop things in a steady way, or you have commonalities with other countries and other regions. So that is good. And chapter 7, it's a reflection. So I've talked about getting my data, I talked about setting the scene and explaining why I think this is the different types of value that we can see in our region in terms of industry and in terms of tech stacks. But as a final reflection, what I see here is we're in a beautiful moment in time. Not only with the rise of AI and hashtag trends and whatever, but it's mostly like, for the internet has 50 years. For the past 40 years, Portugal has passed from, a revolution. We established ourselves in Europe, and what we saw was like a lot of different types of companies surviving by providing outsourcing and evolving towards, providing service to others. And in the past year, since the 2010, 2020, you start seeing that right now Portugal has 7 unicorns. We shifted towards providing others to looking inwards and actually providing service to our own. We're providing more product. We're building more product. And the sense that I got here is not just about us providing our product and being proud of, is actually having other people coming to our country and being proud of being part of this community and growing our community. Together we're stronger. And having the ability to produce our own products, our own conferences, and partnership with everyone, that's where we actually see the benefit and we reap the benefits later. So thank you and goodbye. By the way, you can actually get this, all my data will be in this link tree. So you can scan it and you have access to, I opened the URL, so you should have a way to question me on all that data and crunch that data yourselves. Yeah, 20 minutes? More or less? Yay! Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nelson. This was amazing. Thank you for bringing this context to us. I think this is important. And I think the reason we picked Nelson to be the first presenter is really to kind of bring everyone to the same page and what we're going to be talking about today here. So thanks a lot for that, man.
Thank you.
And yeah, go ahead.
Just in case if you have any questions, feel free to tap me outside. And yeah, if you want to know more about different types of tech events, join my TechStack and I'll see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.